So on the screen here, I have opened up the report menu. The very first, very smallest change is that the reports menu is only available up here in the menus now. You're not going to see that anymore from the organization menu. It has been moved and it has its very own spot up here. And when I expand the reports menu, it's going to give me a list of reports that are available. It looks very different. I know that all of you have become accustomed to how it looked before. These are the same reports that we had before, but we've removed all those little picture tiles to make it easier to browse the available reports. No more scrolling up and down trying to find the one that you want. We've also added a few new reports, so they certainly wouldn't have fit on that screen. So we have everything we did have before, plus some new ones here. Okay, the only thing missing are the pictures. We've also enhanced the way the reports give information, so we're going to dive in and take a look at a report and what the new tools are there. I just want to do some quick navigation here. On the reporting screen, you'll see that there's multiple columns. Each one is organizing the reports basically by the data type. So the first one, activity, refers to every time somebody has viewed a lesson activity. And you can see that organized by the lesson name, by the product, by the commands used, the version, by the username, by the group. The second column here is achievements. This is where you're going to see every time somebody answered a question. So any progress in an assessment, whether it is a playlist assessment, a course assessment, or a badge assessment, is recorded and displayed here. And then the third column is a new set of data that's available to you guys for reporting, and this is employees. So we have added access to the employee data in the reports area. And from here, you're going to be able to see the activity for your employees by group, by product, etc. Many of the same ideas, just organized by employee. At the bottom of each of these columns, you're going to see the downloads still available. So the downloads that we offered previously, these are absolutely still here, no change there. You can download activity, you can download a course list, you can download assessment data, role data, or goal data. And now you can download employee data. So this means that you can get an export of your user list with all of the details included in it easily in one step here. So let's take a look at one of the activity reports. This is probably what people used to use most often, I would say. And I'll start with employee activity. I think most of us are used to coming in and looking at user activity to see who's been most active. And you can see that immediately the information is displayed on screen. Similar layout to before, but a number of new choices, a number of new options up here to help you with the report. So we have given you guys the ability now to come in and make some changes on screen where it used to be just static information that you were seeing. Now you can make some adjustments to things like sorting and column arrangement and filtering, and you can save those changes so that they persist every time you view this report. You don't have to reset it every time you come in. We've also added an option here for Save As so that you can capture multiple versions of this report in different organizations. And the reason you may want to do that is you may want to schedule report delivery out to different people who need to focus on different things. So you can actually create a customized version of each one of these reports and then set up the schedule for just those groups of people. We did add to the scheduled delivery an option of daily. We had weekly and monthly available. We now have daily available for scheduling reports. And of course, there's a tool here to undo your changes. As you're making these changes, if you need to back anything up a step, you certainly can. The date range stays exactly as it was before. We have a drop down where we have 30, 60, or 90-day ranges predefined for you, or you can set the date range manually. We do allow only 90 days at a time. That does not mean you can only go 90 days back. It means there needs to be 90 days between the start date and the end date. So if we wanted to go a year back, if you had activity back then, we can, as long as we limit that range to 90 days. Okay. So I'm going to expand this out to 90 days here just so that I can get a nice sampling of information on the screen. And then we're going to take a quick look at settings. Now, previously we did give you the ability to change the visual from bar to area or to line, and that is still available. So I can come in here and I can change the type of chart. Scroll up just a little bit there. We've also added the ability to change the default grouping, the y-axis information, and depending on your selection here, sorting and aggregate options. Okay, so let's take just a moment to talk about what that is. We asked for a list of user activity. All right, so every lesson viewed by a user. And this is giving me a count on the side of those lesson views. I can ask to see it descending or ascending. Goodness. Right here, the y-axis is set by default to views because that's what we came in and looked for. Maybe we want to see the length. Instead of how many lessons did they view, how much time did they spend viewing lessons? So if I change this y-axis to length, notice how I get a new box available. Based on that type of data, I can look at it as a count, a sum, an average, see the minimum or the maximum because it's a number. So in this example, I'm going to say sum. I'd like it to add up the amount of time spent by each employee. And you can see that this changed. Now I'm seeing this length sum. This is in seconds. We do still have to translate it, but that's how much time each user spent versus how many lessons they viewed. So there's a couple quick things you can change right at the top to adjust what you're seeing on screen. And remember, you can save those changes anytime you want to make them persist every time you view this report. Now, beneath the graphic, we have some detailed information. This is where you're going to see the actual listing. And we give you a number of ways to customize the information down here. So the first thing I want to point out, we have navigation at the top and the bottom for the multiple pages. So I can go a page forward, page behind, jump to the last, jump to the beginning. The report itself is grouped by username, and that's based on the report I selected. Okay, so each of those reports that we had available, that's telling you how the information is going to be grouped by lesson, by resource, by product, by employee, by group. If I want to adjust this, I can. I can remove the grouping entirely and just have a list of every lesson viewed by every single person, or I can choose to group it a different way. Okay, so if I wanted to see this grouped by course name, I can do that. So you can click and drag to group by any of the information fields here. The columns that are visible right now is not the length of all the columns that are available. There is an icon in each column here that you can click on for some options. This will allow you to sort ascending or descending, whichever column you're in. You can come here and choose which columns you would like displayed, or you can filter the data for the column that you're in. So if I select columns, this is going to show me every column that's possible for this report. We don't have them all displayed. It would be a little overwhelming. So you can fine tune exactly what's displayed here. Maybe at this point you're not concerned with the date or the product or the username. You can remove any column you don't want. I don't have any filled in, but we'll try it out. So you can add or remove columns to suit your needs, and then remember, you can save your changes. This is where Save As comes in handy. You might want to have a different report filtered for each division that's scheduled to go out to different people. So remember, you can filter using any of these columns. The way you filter, of course, is going to change just a little bit based on the data type. So when we're looking at text, we're going to be able to have one data type. When we're looking at a date, we're going to have a different data type, right? So this is where I'm going to say before or after, where with text, I'm going to say contains, does not contain. With numbers, it's going to be equal to, greater than, etc. Now, you can save these at any time, as I said, but let's say I've arranged this just the way I want and I want a custom report. We're going to click on Save As. This allows me to name this report whatever I'd like. I'm going to recommend you choose carefully because you're going to have a list of reports you've created and it want to be easy to remember which one was what. So just give it a name that means something to you. So I'm going to say user by division. Now that's been saved. And if I want to schedule this for delivery, I can click on Schedule Report Delivery. Again, this feature works just like it did before, but we did add a new choice for daily. So if I need to be updated daily on the activity, I'm going to indicate here I want to receive that report. I can add additional employees, of course, if there are other people who want to see it. And I can add people who are not users in the system to receive this email by simply adding a name and an email address. So if it's somebody who is an existing user in the system, you can pick from the drop-down list. If it's somebody who does not exist, simply add them in to receive the automated email. And then save your schedule. Schedules can be changed, of course, at any time. So if somebody calls you and says daily is way too much, I don't want it that often, you can come back in here. It will have saved your changes and you can adjust it as you need to. Now, to view the reports that you've saved, if you've created a custom report, I'm going to return to that report menu, and there is a column right over here to the right where we see custom reports. This is going to be a list of every report version you have saved. And you can view the report and make any changes by clicking the report title. So you can make another copy with some additional tweaks if you wanted to, or you can just update what you have on screen. Unlimited number of customizations you can have there. Create as many versions as you need, and keep in mind that the reason to create so many versions is so you can build different schedules that go out to different people so that you don't ever have to worry about that again. Now, the activity reports, as we're going through and looking at this, for the most part, the data is the same that it was before. We're looking at lesson views. We're just giving you much better ways to look at it, much more flexible expressions on screen here, and new choices for delivery. There is one new activity report here. This did not exist before, called Resource Activity. This is going to take a look at every time somebody has clicked on one of the links that you have added to your course. So if you have created a course that contains custom links, those links aren't necessarily reflected in the lesson activity because they're not a video lesson that somebody watches through. But now you do have a place where you can come and see how many times they've been accessed, just to keep an eye on that activity. In the achievement section, all of these reports are exactly as they were before. So a quick goal summary by employee, role summary by employee, assessment report card if you're drilling into just one assessment to see scores, the assessment summary, and the assessment history. These will all work exactly as they did before. Because these point to a particular assessment that you need to pick from a drop-down list, and we're going to see information just for that assessment, they don't have that same sort of interface the activity reports do. It's not really possible when we're doing this sort of finite capture. Okay, so these are giving you some on-the-go information, but remember that you can still download that raw data anytime you want. So the downloads are still available if you want to, do some analysis in Microsoft BI, in Excel, wherever you work. And this last column here for employees, I just want to point out that this is going to allow you to see a quick list of your employees by division, by location, by group. This is something that people have asked for quite some time, being able to see who is listed in each one of these areas. Now, I am working in a dummy database today, of course, for our demonstration purposes, so I don't have a whole lot of choices for division. I have no entry, which is everybody who had no division assigned. I have one that appears blank because I left a space in the field, and that's my fault. And then I have engineering. So I have one sample division here, okay? You can also, of course, see those reports by group or by physical location. Now, group has always been easy to capture the activity by. That's always been available over here. But now we've added in that division and location so that you can quickly filter those and see them on screen as well. And of course, you can download that employee data at any time. It's going to bring it out to a spreadsheet. This is going to include all of the details for all of your users. Are they active or not? What division, group, location have you set? What are their roles? Everything will be visible there. So that is a huge improvement over what we had available for employee downloads before, where you were capturing those one screen at a time. And I want to point out over to the side here that we did create reporting tips and tricks videos. So you can get some on-the-fly help, okay? Getting started is an overview of how to navigate and view reports, filtering and grouping, how to work with those additional filters and groups we've added, how to schedule reports, how to save your custom versions, how to download, and even a quick introduction on using Power BI, how to take that information and bring it into Power BI. So you can launch any of these helpful reports if you need some assistance as you go. So why did we make all these changes? We made these changes for customer feedback. Okay, we made this to accommodate our customer base and what they needed. What I'd like to do now is make sure you know that we want more feedback. We made a number of changes. We want to see from here what you'd like to see fine-tuned, changed, or added. Okay, so please let us know if there's something here you'd like to see adjusted or improved. And you can submit feedback by emailing feedback@cadlearning.com. I can throw that in the chat as well so that you have that available to you. and help us shape the tool. We want to make sure this is giving you exactly what you guys need.